होम मिनिस्ट्री की तरफ से एक बड़ा नोटिफिकेशन आया है कि जो भी विस्थापित रिलीजियस प्रोसिक्यूटेड माइनॉरिटीज जो इस देश में भारत में आए हैं दिसंबर 2024 तक वो यहाँ रह सकते हैं, चाहे पासपोर्ट के साथ आए हों बिना पासपोर्ट के आए हों, उनको डिपोर्ट नहीं किया जाएगा। इसको आप कैसे देखते हैं?
देखिए, ये सिर्फ 2024 का बात नहीं है। सन 1947 में इसी विस्थापित लोगों का सामने और जो पूर्व पाकिस्तान में जो हिंदू, बौद्ध, जैन, क्रिश्चियन लोग रह गए उसका सामने पंडित जवाहरलाल नेहरू, महात्मा गांधी, सरदार वल्लभ भाई पटेल का यही कमिटमेंट था कि अगर उन्होंने अपने आप को असुरक्षित महसूस कर रहे हैं, अपने धर्म बचाने के लिए, अपने जीवन बचाने के लिए जो लोग हिंदुस्तान में आ रहे हैं और आने वाले दिन में भी जिसको आना पड़ेगा, भारत सरकार उसको पूर्ण सुरक्षा देंगे, उसको जीवन और उसका रोजगार देने के लिए भारत सरकार प्रतिबद्ध रहेंगे। तो कांग्रेस तो वादा किया, निभाया नहीं। आज वही काम, वही सपना आज साकार हो रहा है। ये स्वतंत्र भारत का पहला स्वतंत्र सरकार नरेंद्र मोदी जी का नेतृत्व में वो काम किया। इस फैसला को सारे हिंदुस्तान के लोग, सारे विस्थापित लोग और पश्चिम बंगाल और पंजाब का पूरा लोग इसको खुलकर समर्थन करेंगे और प्रधानमंत्री को अपना हार्दिक अभिनंदन के साथ साथ अपना कृतज्ञता भी व्यक्त करेंगे।
ये जो सीए का कट ऑफ डेट एक्सटेंशन, दिस इज नथिंग बट ओनली टू मेक कंफ्यूजन एंड डाइवर्ट द इश्यूज। भाजपा क्या कर रहे हैं? भाजपा का साथ बंगाल का जनता का कोई रिलेशन नहीं है, डेवलपमेंट में वो लोग नहीं है। वो बंगाल लैंग्वेज, बंगाली लैंग्वेज को इंसल्ट कर रहा है, बंगाली इंडियंस को हैरास कर रहा है, बंगाल को ड्यूज नहीं दे रहा है। पब्लिक उससे खफा है। जो पॉलिसी है वो रहेगा और भाजपा जब भी इसी तरह कुछ कंफ्यूजन क्रिएट करने का कोशिश करेगा, हम लोग प्रोटेस्ट करेंगे।
Within few days, I think the clarification will come, but let me clarify first. It is not associated with the CAA, but the thing is that the people, those have entered inside the country, this country, India, from Bangladesh, especially in respect of West Bengal, and as well as the Pakistan in case of other part of the country, those people will not be deported if they have entered inside 31st December 2024. The thing is that if they will not be deported, then with the process of naturalization, they will become the citizen of India. This is the act of the country.
Now, there is no citizenship or voting rights to any of these persecuted minorities, only relief from deportation. But why is the BJP calling it a relief? Here's why. They believe that this move reinforces the BJP's Hindu protection plan. The BJP is also eyeing consolidation of key Hindu majority seats, especially as far as West Bengal is concerned, which goes to elections next year. This move, the BJP also believes, will strengthen them and their base in districts that have a heavy presence of these migrants. Big electoral impact on at least 60 Matua-dominated seats in West Bengal is what the BJP is eyeing, and they're hoping that this narrative that they're building with this change in rules of deportation for illegal migrants, persecuted minorities from these three countries, that's something that will benefit them come election time in West Bengal. But will the centre's move impact the elections at all, or is this just about rhetoric and a narrative? Well, as far as West Bengal is concerned, many analysts believe, and the BJP believes, that it may boost their support among Hindus, particularly the Matua community, which is significant. It has a say on our sway on several seats in West Bengal. As far as Bihar goes to polls in a few months from now. It highlights the BJP's narrative on illegal migrants as well. That's something that analysts believe will be the impact. Assam is another state that goes to elections next year. As far as the beneficiaries of the extension of this deadline is concerned, of course, there is no citizenship, like I pointed out. This is only protection from deportation, and that protects the BJP from backlash over illegal migration as well. So the BJP seems to believe that this will give them an edge in all of these three states that go to polls in the next year and a half. Arunima, my colleague, joins us, getting us more details on this. Arunima, the BJP is definitely hoping to reap political dividends out of this, isn't it?
Yes. the upcoming West Bengal election. This issue will definitely create a positive perception for the party. People who are being persecuted in Bangladesh, their family members who are already in West Bengal, they would definitely feel that there is a central government led by BJP which cares for them, and that could create a positive perception for them. That's what the BJP's calculation seems to be.
Right, Anandima, thank you so much for getting us those details on this. Of course, the TMC, the Congress, believe that this is nothing but narrative spinning of the BJP and that it will not have any impact on these elections. Of course, time will tell. Shifting focus now, the 56th meeting of the GST Council, chaired by Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, is currently underway. Announced by the Prime Minister from the ramparts of the Red Fort on 15th of August, the revamped goods and services tax will come into effect, hopefully, after this two-day deliberation of the GST Council. What we're learning is that this reform would feature just two slabs, 5% and 12%. It would replace the earlier 12 and 28% rates, but that's not all. A steep 40% sin tax, as it's being called, will be introduced for products that are deemed harmful, like tobacco, like cigarettes, like pan masala. The government hopes that this move will bring cheer to consumers with prices of essentials like computers, mobile phones, automobiles, cars especially, are expected to drop after this decision. Manufacturers too are optimistic, especially car manufacturers, because we've seen a dip in demand as far as cars are concerned. They are now expecting a surge, especially as we lead up into the festival season. However, opposition-led states have raised concerns. They've warned that this new structure could dent their revenue streams. Andhra Pradesh, meanwhile, has come out in full support of these GST norms. First, listen in to the promise that Prime Minister had made on Independence Day to the rest of the country and the reactions that followed.
इस दिवाली में आपकी डबल दिवाली का काम मैं करने वाला हूं। इस दिवाली में आपको एक बहुत बड़ा तोहफा देशवासियों को मिलने वाला है। पिछले 8 साल से हमने जीएसटी का बहुत बड़ा रिफॉर्म किया। पूरे देश में टैक्स के बर्डन को कम किया, टैक्स की व्यवस्थाओं को सरल किया और 8 साल के बाद समय की मांग है कि हम एक बार उसको रिव्यू करें। हमने एक हाई पावर कमेटी को बिठा करके रिव्यू शुरू किया, राज्यों से भी विचार विमर्श किया और मेरे प्यारे देशवासियों, हम नेक्स्ट जनरेशन जीएसटी रिफॉर्म्स लेकर के आ रहे हैं। ये दिवाली के अंदर आपके लिए तोहफा बन जाएंगे। सामान्य मानवीय की जरूरतों के टैक्स भारी मात्रा में कम कर दिए जाएंगे।
There is a big relief that is expected after this GST Council meeting that concludes tomorrow, especially for taxpayers. This is what we've learned from our sources in the government that have revealed that a major slash is expected as far as health insurance premiums are concerned. That's something that could go down. The GST on that could go down. This is something, remember, CNN News 18 had reported a couple of days earlier as well, that that's a sector that the government is looking at as far as giving relief is concerned. Senior citizens too could get a relief in that particular sector as far as health and life insurance premiums go. Insurance are also, that's something that is on cards that we're given to understand. The consensus building, of course, will have to be done during this meeting, which is currently underway. It's going on until tomorrow evening, after which we will know what these reforms are, which the government proposed, and what kind of support or backlash came into the fore for it. Pallavi, my colleague, now joins us, getting us more details on this. Pallavi, what else have you gathered from your sources?
See, the focus of this GST meeting and the two tire slab is very clearly to make it pro-consumer or pro-people, and of course also benefit the ancillary industries. We've been reporting on the fact that there are now going to be only two slabs, that is 0 to 5%. Some items possibly will not even invite any GST rate. So there's a 0 to 5% slab, and the other one is that of 12%, which can be imposed. Of course, there is also something which is called the sin tax, but that is on deep luxury items, or it is going going to be on what is considered to be dangerous to health, like tobacco and pan masala. It's these consumers or people's, pro-people's items which are going to be the focus of the 56th GST meeting, and one among them which we are picking up is that of health and insurance sector. Lots of medicines, and especially in the critical illness areas, many of those medicines will see a huge slash as far as the GST rates goes. I mean, many of them is going to come down from 25% to 12%, in some cases from 12 to 5% as well. Apart from that, there's the insurance sector where the insurance also can see a slash as far as the GST rates are concerned. The only problem is that of consensus, but I don't think that should be too much of a problem, because by and large, every state government will also have to understand, and does understand, that you cannot be seen as opposing what is coming across as pro-manufacturing sector or a pro-consumer measure, because they will be inviting then that kind of a perception about them being anti any kind of a move or a reform move. And if I'm going to talk about the Congress rule states, particularly Poonam, remember Rahul Gandhi used to call it a gabbar tax. So today he and his party cannot be seen as opposing it, because then the BJP will certainly call out their bluff and say, you used to make those big talks, but today you have resisted it. The procedure was very simple. There was a group of ministers or the GOM who had come out with all these proposals of 0 to 5% slab and other one of 12%. That GOM proposals have been accepted. That is what has been taken to a GST Council, and now the GST Council has been discussing it since morning. As of now, what we are talking about is they're still discussing the rate rationalization, and one of the first items to be taken up was that of health and the pharma sector. I'm being told that on day one, which is today, it could be another half an hour to 40 minutes where the proceedings could end. If there is a consensus as early as today, there is a possibility that the finance minister does hold a press conference to announce the new GST rates. The government is also targeting the implementation of these new GST as early as 22nd September, because that is also when the festive season begins.
So as far as the opposition is concerned, Pallavi, they of course will be on board as far as reducing these slabs are concerned. But there are some concerns that are being raised as far as revenue loss, which is why the opposition rule states perhaps would want certain items to be moved from the central GST list to the state GST list.
Yeah, absolutely right, Poonam. In fact, there was a joint statement which was issued on behalf of 8 opposition states, which includes not just Congress, but also, say, the Aam Aadmi Party government in Punjab, West Bengal, Tamil Nadu as well, and even in Kerala, where all of them said that while we support the idea of GST restructuring, our revenue loss is something which should be ensured in terms of either a compensation package coming in from the centre, and the benefits of the new GST slab should accrue more to the state governments and less to the centre. Apart from this, they also want what is called the state level GST on those items which don't necessarily fall under the GST slab, like alcohol, like petrol, for example, real estate. They feel that these are those high revenue earning sectors, and the benefits of this should definitely go to a state government so that it can be a kind of compensation. Now, we'll have to wait to see that when Nirmala Sitharaman announces the new GST structure, how does she address this demand coming in from the opposition rule states of a compensatory package.
And this compensatory package is something that Congress rule states like Karnataka had often spoken of, that the amount of taxes they pay and the amount of remuneration that they get in return, that's not appropriate. That's something that several Congress rule states especially have raised, Pallavi.
You know, also, Poonam, there was something which was called the compensatory cess. The government is also doing away with that kind of a compensatory cess. And that is why many of these opposition rule states, the 8 of them, are irked because they are raising this concern. And I remember the Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaiah had gone on record to say that while we welcome the restructuring and the simplification of the new GST structure, we could end up losing 15,000 crore rupees in terms of revenue. Who is going to compensate for that? Which is why they now want GST rates to be applied on many of the items on the state level. That is one point. And the second, as I just pointed out, they also want some kind of a compensation package, at least for an interim period up to 4 to 5 years, to be announced by the central government to deal with the initial loss of that revenue which the opposition rule states are talking about. What I did pick up, the government at this point of time is not in a mood for that, because according to them the logic is that whatever benefit that you're going to earn by this restructuring of the GST, most of it is actually going to go to a state governments. They have to use it judicially. Some state governments have not been able to use it judicially. But if you expect that the centre, which in any case also will face a loss of revenue, how do you expect us to give that kind of money, because we are also going to be facing a revenue loss?
Right, Pallavi, do stay on with us. Some more reactions have poured in. As far as this GST Council is concerned, they are going to be meeting over today and tomorrow, after which we'll know what these reforms are and whether consensus was built on it. But let's listen to some of those reactions as we dig deeper.
Prime Minister of India on August 15th has announced from the Red Fort that there is going to be a Diwali gift to the people of this great nation. And as an alliance party, we are supporting, from Andhra Pradesh, we are supporting the major reforms in the GST sector which are being proposed by Government of India.
नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने बड़े रिफॉर्म्स, बड़े सुधार और रेट में भी बड़े रिवीजन का ऐलान लाल किले की प्राचीर से स्वतंत्रता दिवस के अवसर पर किया है। इस दिशा में जीएसटी में बड़े रिफॉर्म्स की दिशा में भारत सरकार और जीएसटी काउंसिल आगे बढ़ रही है और उसी संदर्भ में 3 और 4 तारीख को जीएसटी काउंसिल की बैठक है और उसके लिए हम सब तैयारी प्रारंभ कर चुके हैं और सकारात्मक दिशा में भारत देश की जनता के हितों के लिए, रेट कम करने के लिए और इकोनॉमिक रिफॉर्म्स के लिए, दोनों दृष्टिकोण से आदरणीय मोदी जी के मंशानुरूप जीएसटी में बिग टिकट रिफॉर्म्स इंट्रोड्यूस होने जा रहे हैं, जिसका अर्थव्यवस्था को भी बड़ा लाभ मिलेगा, लोगों को भी बड़ा लाभ मिलेगा, चीज़ें सस्ती भी होंगी और इकोनॉमी में कंजम्पशन भी आगे बढ़ेगा और तीव्र आर्थिक विकास के लिए मददगार होगा।
प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में ये नेक्स्ट जनरेशन का बहुत बड़ा जीएसटी रिफॉर्म है। पूरे देश के व्यापारी 3 और 4 तारीख की इस बैठक की ओर देख रहे हैं और पूरी उम्मीद है कि इस बैठक के बाद जो जीएसटी रिफॉर्म की घोषणा होगी उसमें जहां करों के स्लैब में कमी होगी, वहीं बड़ी मात्रा में बहुत सारी वस्तुएं ऊंचे स्लैब से निकाल करके नीचे के स्लैब में लाई जाएंगी। उससे न केवल व्यापारियों को बल्कि आम उपभोक्ता को भी फायदा होगा।
This is what we're learning via our sources to CNBC TV 18, that refunds stuck under inverted duty structure for textile and pharma are expected to be approved in 7 days. This is going to happen after the GST Council meeting decides and comes out with what exactly they've decided on tomorrow. Remember, it's a 2-day meeting, but this is what we've learned from our sources and by sister channel CNBC TV 18 of what exactly is being discussed on day 1 of this GST Council meeting. We're given to understand that refunds on provisional basis, up to 90% of claims are likely to be issued. Of course, there is a distinction that is being made by the GST Council that these refunds are only to non-risky taxpayers. That's what we're now learning, these inside details that are trickling in as far as the GST Council meeting goes. Remember, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman is chairing that meeting of the GST Council over 2 days, today and tomorrow, in the national capital. Textile and pharma are 2 sectors that the GST Council seems to be focusing on as far as refunds are concerned. These refunds that are stuck under inverted duty structure, that's something that is going to be looked at by the GST Council and approved within the next 1 week. So that's something that has been expedited and decided by the GST Council to take forward after tomorrow's, after this meeting and after tomorrow's day, which is day 2, comes to an end. Rate rationalization is something that is being discussed as far as the GST Council meeting goes. Like I was mentioning to you earlier, premiums on medical and life insurance could go down, given that the GST that they attract currently would be brought down. That's what we have learned from our sources. Now, our sources to CNBC TV 18 are also revealing that these refunds that are stuck under inverted duty structure could also be expedited. Pallavi now joins us, getting us more details. Pallavi, if you could just simplify this for our viewers and tell us what this really would mean for taxpayers.
So, Poonam, this is exactly what we were talking about a short while back. The focus of the 56th GST meeting, which is looking at restructuring, is also focusing not just on consumers, but most important, manufacturing units as well. The ease of doing business is the key mantra, because there is an area of worry, especially given the post-US tariff structure, that whether our MSMEs as well as the manufacturing unit is going to be hit. Well, one big thing that we are picking up, of course, is that as far as the 30 days period of approval, just to put it very simply, as far as the startups or the MSMEs are concerned, that has now been brought down to 3 days, which means that as soon as possible, that kind of a provisional approval or admission is going to be provided for by the ministries concerned, so as to ensure that there is no wastage of time, there is no red tapeism which is going to take place. So the focus of the GST meeting is not just on restructuring and making it a dual slab structure, with of course the 40% being as far as the sin slab is concerned, but also, the kind of nitty-gritty to cut the ribbons short. For example, when you want to go in for admission of refunds as far as your insurance sector is concerned, there was always an area that there was a long-term period which was being one had to wait for. Those things are also going to be slashed down to say 7 days. So these are, just to put it very, very simply, and if that press conference happens later today, to put it very simply, it is actually going to be looking at the possibility of the ease of doing business. A huge thumbs up to the startups and the MSME sectors who are particularly apprehensive with the kind of trade turmoil, tariff turmoil we are facing with America.
Right, Pallavi, thank you so much for getting us the latest on that front. It's a new milestone for India's quest for self-reliance in technology and innovation. From the ramparts of the Red Fort on Independence Day, Prime Minister Modi had announced that India's first commercial semiconductor chip will enter production this year, a bold step towards reducing reliance on foreign technology. Now at Semicon India 2025, Electronics and IT Minister Ashwini Vaishnav presented the Prime Minister with the Vikram 32, India's first fully indigenous 32-bit microprocessor. Developed by ISRO's Semiconductor Laboratory, this cutting-edge chip is engineered to endure extreme conditions of space launch vehicles. As global powers like China tighten control over rare earths and semiconductors, this Vikram chip marks a pivotal moment in India's journey to become a self-sufficient tech powerhouse. This is what we've learned as per industry estimates. The size of the Indian semiconductor market was about $38 billion in 2023, $45 to $50 billion the year after in 2024-2025, and it's expected to reach $100 to $110 billion by 2030, which is in 5 years from now. At the inauguration of this year's SEMI's pilot outsourced semiconductor assembly and test facility last Thursday, Information Technology Minister Ashwini Vaishnav said that India's first made-in-India semiconductor chip will roll out of Gujarat's CG Semi Private Limited in Sanand. He reiterated what Prime Minister said on Independence Day, that it will be a packaged chip assembled and tested in India rather than one produced at a domestic fabrication facility, and would be ready by the end of 2025. By next year, which is 2026, the first chip from Dholera plant will also be out. The trajectory is only growing from there. By 2029, the objective is to be making India among the top 5 chip ecosystems. At Semicon India 2025 yesterday, which kicked off, Prime Minister Modi said that chips will power the 21st century. Listen in.
फ्रेंड्स, सेमीकंडक्टर की दुनिया में एक बात कही जाती है, oil was black gold, but chips are digital diamonds. हमारी पिछली शताब्दी को ऑयल ने शेप किया। दुनिया का भाग्य तेल के कुओं से तय होता था। तेल के इन कुओं से कितना पेट्रोलियम निकलेगा, इस आधार पर ग्लोबल इकोनॉमी ऊपर नीचे होती रहती है। लेकिन 21वीं शताब्दी की शक्ति छोटी सी चिप में सिमट करके रह गई है। ये चिप भले छोटी सी है, लेकिन इसमें दुनिया की प्रगति को बड़ी गति देने की ताकत है।
India is pushing forth with this mission. The Sanand Semiconductor Facility was inaugurated just a couple of days ago. It is worth 7.5 thousand crore rupees. It's another 80 MP unit. The facility is an initiative of CG Power and Industrial Solutions. 15 million pieces is the per day projection from this particular facility. More facilities are going to be coming up. One is in Dholera in Gujarat that is going to be worth 91,000 crore rupees. It has 50,000 WFSM capacity. $910 billion investment has been done by Tata Electronics Private Limited. This is in partnership with a Taiwan firm. High-performance chips with 28 nanometer tech are going to be rolled out from the Dholera facility. That's the aim. Another semicon facility that is being looked at is in Assam, in Morigaon. Phase 1 is expected to be completed by next year in 2026. The facility is worth 27,000 crore rupees and it will be for assembly, testing, marking and packaging. Investment was made by Tata Semiconductor Assembly and Test Private Limited. 48 million pieces per day is the capacity projection when that facility goes into production next year. In September 2024, there's a project by Kane Semicon Private Limited that was given a go-ahead in Sanand in Gujarat, like I just pointed out. The pilot facility operation is now operational. It will have the capacity of rolling out 6.3 million chips per day. Another ongoing project that India is looking at is HCL Foxconn. This is in Jewar in Uttar Pradesh. It is worth 3,700 crore rupees. 6M private project is in Bhubaneswar in Odisha that was recently approved by the central government. It is going to be worth over 2,000 crore rupees. 3D Glass Solutions Inc. project is another one that India is looking at that is going to be in Odisha in Bhubaneswar. That too was recently approved. CDIL, Continent AI Device Projects, is going to come up in Punjab and Mohali in a few months from now. This was recently approved and has a budget of over 117 crores. The capacity of this particular facility would be 158 million units per year. Advanced System in Packaging Technologies project in Andhra Pradesh was recently approved as well. It happened just last month in August. It is worth 468 crore rupees and can produce 96 million units per year.
It is a new milestone for India's tech ambitions. India will have its own commercial semiconductor chip in production this year itself, as the Prime Minister had announced from the Red Fort. While China has weaponized rare earths and semiconductors, India is now moving towards self-reliance in chips. Union Minister Ashwini Vaishnav has presented the first set of Made in India chips to the Prime Minister on Tuesday, calling it a moment of pride. Here is what the Prime Minister said. The world trusts India, the world believes in India, and the world is ready to build the semiconductor future with India. Oil was once black gold, Mr. Modi said, but today chips are digital diamonds. These tiny chips will shape the 21st century, the Prime Minister has said. Look at the speed. From Semicon India's launch in 2021 to the approval of India's first semiconductor plant in 2023 and 5 new projects cleared in 2025. India now has 10 semiconductor projects worth $18 billion or rupees 1.5 lakh crore. The Prime Minister says speed matters in the semiconductor sector. From file to factory, India is cutting paperwork, building plug-and-play infrastructure and offering end-to-end capabilities. The day is not far, Modi said, when India's smallest chip will drive the world's biggest change. He also said India is now moving from back-end to becoming a full-stack semiconductor nation. From 7.8% GDP growth to the first Made in India chips, Bharat stands as a lighthouse of stability, says IT Minister Ashwini Vaishnav. India is creating a semiconductor ecosystem that makes India self-reliant and globally competitive. Ashwini Vaishnav has also said that India's semiconductor production is already 15 to 30% more cost competitive globally. With ISM 2.0, we are making India a true product nation, says Mr. Vaishnav. From fabs to design, from exports to advanced tech, India is no longer just a participant. It is becoming a semiconductor leader. At Semicon India 2025, 12 new MOUs were signed covering indigenous design, camera modules, packaging and talent development. And a $1 billion deep tech alliance was announced set to drive breakthroughs in clean energy, quantum and frontier technologies. With 78 universities using advanced designer tools and students already building chips in Mohali, India is creating a semiconductor talent pool that powers 20% of the global workforce, with an industry projection of $1 trillion by 2030, and India's strong positioning in talent, trust and technology, the nation is poised to emerge as a global leader in semiconductors. In fact, global semiconductor industry leaders at the Semicon event highlighted India's fast-growing role in shaping the global chip ecosystem, highlighting the country's talent pool, government support and rising investment commitments. Tim Archer, the president and CEO of Lam Research, said the global semiconductor industry is on its way towards the $1 trillion USD dollar mark, and India is emerging as a key partner in this journey. Kai Beckman from Merck has said India's local semiconductor market is expected to reach a staggering $100 billion by 2030. Prime Minister Modi summed it up when he said, "Our journey began late, but nothing can stop us now."
With that, it's a wrap here, but we will continue with news and updates after this very quick break. Don't go anywhere.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Welcome back. You're watching the breaking news show right here on CNN News 18. Let's take you right now to visuals that we've got coming in from China, where after wrapping up the SCO summit, President Xi Jinping, hosting the country's largest ever military day parade today, seeks to recast Beijing as the custodian of a post-US international order at a time of deep geopolitical uncertainty. Now, the parade you're watching is a presentation of Chinese military might, with China unveiling for the first time some of its most modern weaponry, including jet fighters, missiles, and the latest electronic warfare hardware. The goal, as we told you earlier, was very much to showcase military might. Hundreds of People's Liberation Army aircraft were displayed in the parade, according to Chinese military officials. 20 of the world's leaders, in fact 26 foreign leaders, including Russian President Vladimir Putin, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, leaders of Iran, Malaysia, Myanmar, Mongolia, Indonesia, Zimbabwe, all attending. And from India's neighborhood, you have Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, Nepal Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli, Maldives President Mohammad Muizzu, all attending the parade. We're just continuing to show you visuals as they come in on this story. Hundreds of troops taking part in this parade. This parade is held to commemorate the Chinese victory over Japanese aggression. That's how they describe it in World War II. And this was the 80th anniversary. We're just going to go over to our colleague Siddhant to understand more. Siddhant, first tell us, the 26 leaders who were in attendance, even the manner in which they're made to stand, the manner in which the photo ops takes place, highlight the level of importance that the state of China wants to give them. So can you just tell us a little bit about what there is to be made from these visuals that are playing on our screens?
Well, Toya, this is the show of strength being done by Chinese leadership. Not just a message to be sent to the world, but also to his people, Chinese people, because they celebrate this day as the victory over the Japanese forces in World War II, and very strategically, the SCO summit was also planned 2 days ahead of this day, so that the leaders participating in the SCO summit could stay back and be the part of this grand military parade organized by the Chinese government at Tiananmen Square in Beijing. Now, this show is has laser weapon display, nuclear ballistic missiles, and giant underwater drones were shown. In fact, President Xi Jinping said his country was unstoppable and will never be intimidated by bullies. In fact, he was joined today by 26 heads of state, including Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un. This is the first time President Putin and Kim have met together. In fact, U.S. President Donald Trump also, Toya, posted a message on Truth Social saying that all are conspiring against the United States.
US President Donald Trump has once again launched a tariff tirade against India. He's ruled out any rollback of the 50% duties, the 25% that was levied initially, and the secondary 25% that was levied by the United States for buying Russian oil. US President has called trade with India one-sided, blasting sky-high levies like the 200% tariff that was once slapped on Harley-Davidson bikes. Now that has changed, but Donald Trump doesn't seem to remember that. He claims that such protection is pushing American companies to return home and boost local manufacturing. The attack has triggered pushback, though, not just from New Delhi, but also from within the United States. Congressman Ro Khanna has said that Trump is wrecking relations with India to satisfy his own ego. But trade talks are currently underway between India and United States. Our Commerce Minister, in fact, has confirmed that those talks remain on course and that he expects a bilateral trade deal with Washington by the end of November, stressing that despite these steep tariffs, India is committed to keeping the partnership on track.
In our negotiations with the United States of America, I do hope things will get back to track soon and we'll conclude a bilateral trade agreement by fall, November or so, as was discussed by our two leaders in February.
President Trump has said that the US gets on very well with India, but signaled no change in the 50% tariff. The tariffs are in place, he said, because India, which he had earlier declared was a dead economy, had been pouring massive amounts of goods into the US to its disadvantage.
Are you considering taking away some of the tariffs that you've imposed on India?
No, we get along with India very well, but India has, you have to understand, for many years it was a one-sided relationship. Only now, since I came along, and because of the power that we have with tariffs, India was charging us tremendous tariffs, about the highest in the world. They were about the highest in the world, number one. And we therefore weren't doing much business with India, but they were doing business with us because we weren't charging them. Foolishly, we weren't charging them. So they would send in massive, everything they made, they'd send it in, pour it into our country. Therefore, it wouldn't be made here, which is a negative.
Trump brought up again the instance of Harley-Davidson.
Harley-Davidson couldn't sell into India. There was a 200% tariff on a motorcycle. So what happens? Harley-Davidson went to India and built a motorcycle plant. And now they don't have to pay tariffs. Same thing as us.
The Trump administration is moving fast now to challenge two court rulings that have declared the tariffs illegal. For Trump, tariffs are the central plank on which he seeks to build American dominance.
Without the United States, everything in the world would die. It's true. It's so powerful. It's so big. And I made it really big in the first 4 years. Then it started to degenerate with what this Biden administration did. But we built it up to a level that I never thought we could be at this quickly. We're the hottest, we're the best financially. The money coming in is so big because of tariffs and other things, but because of tariffs. Tariff gets us even those other things.
Now on to a CNN News 18 exclusive. Former Prime Minister of Pakistan, Imran Khan, has launched a fresh attack on Pakistan's military leadership. In a post on social media, Imran Khan has alleged that Pakistani army is using drones and carrying out military operations against its own citizens in the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa region. Calling for an immediate halt to these strikes, Imran Khan has declared that and gone on to say that they may imprison him or whoever they wish from his family, but he will not retreat from the stance that he has taken against the Pakistani military and the Pakistani army. We'll be joined by Akanksha to get us more details of what exactly is the charge that's been made by the former Prime Minister of Pakistan, Imran Khan. But remember, he has been incarcerated and is in jail along with his wife over a money laundering case. He has been making several such allegations against the Pakistani military, against the ISI. And now, once again, he's gone on to claim that Pakistani army is surveilling its own citizens and using drones and military equipment to do so. Akanksha joins us, getting us more details on that. Yes, Akanksha.
Absolutely. In fact, in inputs that have been shared by securities editor Mr. Manoj Gupta, what he's gone on to highlight is Imran Khan's post on X, where he's condemned the drone strikes and military operations against the people in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. And he's also urged the Chief Minister Ali Amin Gandapura and the provincial government to vigorously resist these actions. He's gone on to talk about how the region is already reeling under the destruction of floods, and in such circumstances, launching these operations or displacements, even the drone attacks, is akin to rubbing salt into fresh wounds. For 3 years, despite enduring oppression and coercion, despite being on the side of truth, Imran Khan says that he's still calling for dialogue in national interest, and that still it's only the political vengeance which has been taken to extreme levels, taking a direct jibe not just at Shahbaz Sharif but also at Asim Munir. He says that our people were fired upon with live bullets, and even our opposition leader in the parliament was disqualified. So, there has been a massive crackdown when it comes to all of those who have been raising their voices against the establishment, Poonam. And he's in fact said that the decision of Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf to boycott the by-election is commendable. The candidates have withdrawn their nomination papers. They also deserve appreciation. He's in fact further instructed them that if they have any vehicles or privileges still in use, they must return them immediately, and the final date of the Peshawar rally shall be decided in consultation during September. So this is to be seen in a larger context, because Poonam, he's also calling out for Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf to again take to the streets for a protest. Perhaps we can expect something to happen now in September.
Right, Akanksha, thank you so much for getting us the latest on that front. We will keep a track of what's transpiring in our neighborhood and how it would have an impact on India. For now, though, it's time for a quick break on this edition of Nation at 5. Be back in just a few minutes.
Brought to you by This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Welcome back. You're watching the breaking news show right here on CNN News 18. Let's take you right now to visuals that we've got coming in from China, where after wrapping up the SCO summit, President Xi Jinping, hosting the country's largest ever military day parade today, seeks to recast Beijing as the custodian of a post-US international order at a time of deep geopolitical uncertainty. Now, the parade you're watching is a presentation of Chinese military might, with China unveiling for the first time some of its most modern weaponry, including jet fighters, missiles, and the latest electronic warfare hardware. The goal, as we told you earlier, was very much to showcase military might. Hundreds of People's Liberation Army aircraft were displayed in the parade, according to Chinese military officials. 20 of the world's leaders, in fact 26 foreign leaders, including Russian President Vladimir Putin, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, leaders of Iran, Malaysia, Myanmar, Mongolia, Indonesia, Zimbabwe, all attending. And from India's neighborhood, you have Pakistan Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif, Nepal Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli, Maldives President Mohammad Muizzu, all attending the parade. We're just continuing to show you visuals as they come in on this story. Hundreds of troops taking part in this parade. This parade is held to commemorate the Chinese victory over Japanese aggression. That's how they describe it in World War II. And this was the 80th anniversary. We're just going to go over to our colleague Siddhant to understand more. Siddhant, first tell us, the 26 leaders who were in attendance, even the manner in which they're made to stand, the manner in which the photo ops takes place, highlight the level of importance that the state of China wants to give them. So can you just tell us a little bit about what there is to be made from these visuals that are playing on our screens?
Well, Joya, this is the show of strength being done by Chinese leadership, not just a message to be sent to the world, but also to his people, Chinese people, because they celebrate this day as the victory over the Japanese forces in World War II. And very strategically, the SCO summit was also planned 2 days ahead of this day, so that the leaders participating in the SCO summit could stay back and be the part of this grand military parade organized by the Chinese government at Tiananmen Square in Beijing. Now, this show is has laser weapon display, nuclear ballistic missiles, and giant underwater drones were shown. In fact, President Xi Jinping said his country was unstoppable and will never be intimidated by bullies.
Thank you so much for staying with us. The day after BRS leader K. Kavita was suspended from her party, she has now publicly blamed senior BRS leader T. Harish Rao, her cousin, for the federal investigation against KCR. K. Kavita held a press conference earlier today. Not only did she up the ante against her brother K.T. Ramarao, accusing him of turning a blind eye to her concerns, she also took on her cousin T. Harish Rao, accusing him of colluding with the Congress to conspire against the former Chief Minister of Telangana, KCR. K. Kavita has also resigned from her position as the MLC of Telangana, also from the BRS's party membership following this feud.
कभी भी मैंने तेलंगाना के लोगों के खिलाफ काम नहीं किया है, लेकिन आज चंद लोग बीआरएस पार्टी में हमारे आसपास पिताजी के इर्द गिर्द थोड़े लोग, जिनके जो वेस्टेड इंटरेस्ट है, जिनको अपनी ही फायदा की जो सोच है, ऐसे लोग बीआरएस पार्टी में उनका लीड रोल हो गया है और उनके वजह से उन्होंने मेरे पिताजी के ऊपर, मैं ऐसा मानती हूँ, दबाव बना के मुझे पार्टी से निकालने का काम किया है। मैं बीआरएस पार्टी से, हमारे पिताजी से यही रिक्वेस्ट करना चाहती हूँ कि आपके इर्द गिर्द जो लोग जमा हुए हैं, उनकी नीयत के बारे में आप सोचिए। बीआरएस पार्टी के परिवार को तोड़ने का काम आज उन्होंने किया है, और ये किसके फायदे के लिए उन्होंने किया है? तेलंगाना के आवाम के फायदा के लिए उन्होंने नहीं किया है, उनके खुद के फायदा के लिए किया है। और मैं तेलंगाना चीफ मिनिस्टर रेवंत रेड्डी जी से भी डिमांड करती हूँ कि आपने जो बीआरएस के परिवार को तोड़ने का आज काम किया है, तेलंगाना की आवाम आपको इसका जवाब जरूर देगी।
Aneri, my colleague, now joins us, getting us more details on this. Aneri, this has all happened after the Kaleshwaram project report was submitted by the Telangana government. The probe was then handed over to the CBI. It's clearly that probe against KCR that seems to have split the party and now the family.
Well, definitely a lot of political high voltage drama that has been unfolding here in Telangana, and well, this has been going on for quite a long time, because K. Kavita has been talking against the party top leadership of the BRS, especially like KTR, Harish Rao, and now days after the Congress government decided to hand over the Kaleshwaram Commission report for CBI investigation, we see that K. Kavita made a controversial statement, allegations against Harish Rao, Santosh Rao, and also questioned that those who are responsible, then why dragging KCR in all of these matters. But also now what we see is that K. Kavita has been suspended from the party. The letter was signed by her own father, K. Chandrasekhar Rao, who happens to be the BRS party chief. And also at the same time, we see that today K. Kavita has also submitted her resignation as from the post of MLC and also from the prime membership of the BRS party. But now she also once again today leveled a lot of allegations that Harish Rao and Revanth Reddy are working together. They had travelled from Hyderabad to Delhi, and various other allegations that are being leveled by K. Kavita. But now what's next for K. Kavita remains to be seen. Will she float a new party, or will she be going with some of the or joining any other party? That remains to be seen.
Right, Aneri, thank you so much for getting us the latest on that front. Shifting focus from Telangana to Karnataka now, where senior Congress MLA R.V. Deshpande is facing widespread backlash after making an inappropriate remark to a woman journalist during a public interaction in Uttara Kannada. The journalist had raised concerns about the lack of hospital facilities, especially for pregnant women in the area, to which R.V. Deshpande smiled and said, "When it's time for your delivery, we'll get it done." The journalist was visibly taken aback and urged the MLA to focus on getting a hospital built instead of making these cheap remarks. A video of that exchange then went viral on social media, drawing sharp criticism from the BJP especially. Saffron Party has condemned these comments of the Congress MLA, calling them disrespectful, going on to say that this only reflects the misogyny and mindset of the grand old party.
ಉತ್ತರ ಕನ್ನಡ ಜಿಲ್ಲೆಗೆ ಮಲ್ಟಿ ಸ್ಪೆಷಾಲಿಟಿ ಹಾಸ್ಪಿಟಲ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಕೂಗಿದೆ ಅಲ್ಲ ಸರ್. ಪ್ರವಾಹ ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಹೆರಿಗೆಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಕಷ್ಟಪಡುವಂತ ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿ. ಏನ್ ಸರ್? ನಮ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಆಯ್ತು ಸರ್, ಬಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಜನರ ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಹಂಗಿದೆ ಅಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ನೀವು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಗಮನ ಹರಿಸಿ.
This journalist who was caught in that uncomfortable conversation after these misogynistic comments were made by the senior Congress leader and MLA there, R.V. Deshpande. She has now spoken out to my colleague Harish Upadhyay here on CNN News 18 and recounted what exactly transpired. Listen in to that conversation.
मैम, आपने तो एक बहुत ही इम्पोर्टेंट मुद्दा उधर आपने प्रश्न पूछा था इम्पोर्टेंट मुद्दे के बारे में। उत्तर कन्नड़ा डिस्ट्रिक्ट और इस तालुक में भी स्पेशलिटी सुपर स्पेशलिटी हॉस्पिटल्स नहीं है, पर ये जो रिएक्शन आया है फॉर्मर कांग्रेस मिनिस्टर से काफ़ी सरप्राइजिंग है ये।
यस, मैं तो उसी गांव से बिलोंग करती हूँ और मैं पिछले 20 साल से मैं मीडिया में हूँ और पिछले 20 साल से वहाँ एक मल्टी स्पेशलिटी हॉस्पिटल के बारे में इतना फाइट्स हो रहे थे, फिर भी यहाँ से बहुत सारे सेंट्रल मिनिस्टर्स आए और स्टेट मिनिस्टर्स भी रह चुके हैं। देशपांडे सर 7 टाइम MLA है। आई डोंट नो अगले टर्म में वो इलेक्शन में कंटेस्ट करेंगे या नहीं। मैंने पूछा, आप तो बहुत सीजन पॉलिटिशियन है और आप 7 टाइम MLA रह चुके हैं, आपके जो टर्म में ये हॉस्पिटल बनेगा या नहीं? क्योंकि जो जोईडा तालुक है जहाँ ये आए थे वहाँ काली नदी बहता है, जब जोर से बारिश होता है तभी फ्लड का जैसा सिचुएशन होता है, तब जो डिलीवरी के लिए जाते हैं प्रेग्नेंट वुमेन्स बहुत सारे मौत हो चुके हैं। इसीलिए मैंने उनको एक प्रश्न पूछा कि आपके टर्म में ही बनेगा या नहीं हॉस्पिटल? उन्होंने बोला आपका डिलीवरी है तो मैं हरियाणा में करवा दूंगा। सो हरियाणा इज बेसिकली हिज होम टाउन, वहाँ आरवी देशपांडे का बहुत बड़ा साम्राज्य है, बट वो भूल चुके हैं कि जोईडा तालुक, दांडेली तालुक सभी मेरे ही कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी में आता है, बोल चुके हैं वो। और उनका जो स्टेटमेंट है मुझे बहुत बहुत बुरा लगा। तो बहुत ऑस्पिशियस प्रोग्राम था, मैं वहाँ का मूड खराब नहीं करना चाहती थी, फिर भी मेरे पास तो एक ब्रह्मास्त्र है कि मैं जर्नलिस्ट हूँ, मैं मीडिया से बिलोंग करती हूँ। फिर फौरन मैं मीडिया में आई, मैंने उनसे कहा आप बेशर्त माफी मांगो। मैंने जो प्रश्न पूछा था वो मेरे बारे में नहीं, ये तो जो कोई भी बेसिक नेसेसिटी नहीं है उस तालुक के लोगों का प्रश्न मैंने पूछा, इसीलिए मुझे नहीं चाहिए माफी। आपको आपका कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी के जो लोग हैं, जो महिला लोग हैं, उनसे माफी मांगो कह के मैंने मीडिया में, मेरा जो गारंटी न्यूज चैनल है उसके तरफ से मैंने ये मांग किया। अब तक आरवी देशपांडे सर जी कुछ भी नहीं रिएक्शंस दे रहे हैं, क्योंकि अभी तो जो विपक्ष है वो भी मांग कर रहे हैं, महिला संगठन है वो भी मांग कर रहे हैं, जर्नलिस्ट मांग कर रहे हैं और नेशनल मीडिया भी इसके बारे में बात कर रहे हैं वो। फिर भी अभी तक एक भी रेस्पॉन्स 40 इयर्स सीनियर पॉलिटिशियन अभी तक एक भी रिएक्शन नहीं दे रहे हैं, वो बहुत सरप्राइजिंग है। उनको तो लगता है 7 टाइम मैं जीत चुका हूँ, फिर एक बार मुझे जितवाएंगे, कुछ भी बोलो मैं राजा हूँ, मेरा चलेगा, ऐसा एटीट्यूड है उनका और ये दिखाता है कांग्रेस पार्टी।
Northern India is in a grip of relentless monsoon and its fury. It's turning to be a disaster for several states like Punjab especially, which is drowning under the fury of torrential rains and catastrophic floods. Punjab has seen 30 lives that have been lost. The government has shut down all colleges, universities, all educational institutions until the 7th of September. The crisis is deepening as IMD has warned of heavy to extremely heavy rainfall across several other states including Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand and Ladakh, where the next 36 hours are deemed critical. Schools will remain closed across Jammu's 10 districts as well. In Noida and Ghaziabad in the National Capital Region too, we've seen waterlogging, inundation, which is why several measures have been put in place. In the capital, in Delhi, the old Lohapul bridge is under extreme pressure. Water levels of the Yamuna River have breached the danger mark, forcing the railways to impose a 10 km/h speed limit and for several people that live in the low-lying areas around the Yamuna River to be evacuated.
तो इस वक्त मैं भरमौर हेलीपैड पर मौजूद हूं और आप लोग मेरे पीछे देख सकते हैं कि ये वही चॉपर हैं जो लगातार यहां से धार्मिक यात्रियों को रेस्क्यू कर रहे हैं, जो कि काफ़ी दिनों से यहां पर फंसे हुए थे। और क्योंकि आज मौसम खुला है तो मौसम खुलने के तुरंत बाद जो है ये चॉपर यहां पर पहुंच रहे हैं और लगातार सुबह से ही अपनी सेवाओं को दे रहे हैं। और भरमौर से चंबा के लिए ये जो चॉपर है वो यात्रियों को लेकर जा रहे हैं। मेरे पीछे भी आप लोग देख सकते हैं कि तमाम वो यात्री हैं और ये जो चॉपर है इस वक्त यहाँ पर उतर चुका है और इसी तरह से यहाँ पर उतर रहे हैं और इसी तरह से यात्रियों को लेकर जा रहे हैं और लगातार यहाँ से इवैक्यूएशन और रेस्क्यू ऑपरेशन जो है वो लगातार जारी है। हालांकि इन लोगों का ये जो कमर्शियल चॉपर यहाँ पर जो है हायर किए गए थे, इनकी जो मियाद थी, इनकी जो तारीख थी, इनका जो एग्रीमेंट था वो 4 सितंबर तक ही था। लेकिन सरकार के अथक प्रयासों से जो है अब ये कहा गया है कि जब तक भरमौर से एक आदमी वापस नहीं चला जाता तब तक जो है कोई भी जहाज जो है यहाँ से कहीं नहीं जाने वाला। यहाँ पर भी एयरफोर्स के जहाज को भी बुला लिया गया है और एयरफोर्स का जहाज भी यहाँ तक जो है अपनी सेवा देगा ताकि ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा यात्री जो है वो यहाँ से जा सके। इस चॉपर में जो है यात्री सवार हैं और अब तुरंत ये यात्री यहाँ से निकल भी गए हैं और इसी तरह से लगातार ये चॉपर जो है तमाम यात्रियों को यहाँ से निकालने में जुट चुका है। तो ये अपने आप में एक बड़ी बात है और राहत की भी बात है। और राहत इसलिए क्योंकि जो लोग इस वक्त आप लोग तस्वीरों में देख पा रहे हैं पीछे काफ़ी कतारों में खड़े हैं, परेशान हैं, उनको एक राहत की सांस यहाँ पर नजर आ रही है, एक उम्मीद की आस जुटी है, बंधी है।
CNN News 18 Primetime Studio, presented by Schneider Electric Smart Home Solutions.
Very good evening. You're watching Plain Speak. I'm Akanksha Swaroop and we are coming to you live from the CNN News 18 Primetime Studio, presented by Schneider Electric Smart Home Solutions. It wasn't long ago that reports of systemic persecution of Hindus, attacks on temples, forced conversions and mob violence made headlines almost every day. While it's been Pakistan's bitter reality for decades, Afghanistan followed suit after the Taliban takeover. But in Bangladesh, it was after the fall of Sheikh Hasina's government that led to the brutal massacre of Hindus, which many like RSS have also referred to as a systemic Hindu genocide under Bangladesh's interim advisor Mohammad Yunus. But India has not forgotten any of this. In fact, the Ministry of Home Affairs has now pushed out new provisions, this under the Immigration and Foreigners Exemption Order 2025, a move